My ex, who cheated on me with her trainer, just reached out after a year of silence. Now her life is falling apart and she wants me back. Hey everyone, just had a weird situation pop up, and I honestly don't know how to process it. Maybe getting it off my chest will help. Names are fake, obviously. A little over a year ago, I was in a serious 4-year relationship with Kelly, 29F. Everything seemed great between us, at least from my perspective. We were talking about moving in together and even had casual talks about marriage someday. Around that time, I started getting into fitness and introduced Kelly to my trainer, Andy, 32M. Andy was a super charismatic guy, and he and Kelly hit it off, but I didn't think much of it, just assumed they had a good trainer-client relationship. After a few months of working together, Kelly started acting more distant. She'd be busy after her workouts, not come home until late, and her phone would suddenly always be on Do Not Disturb. I'd ask her about it, but she'd blow me off, saying I was being paranoid. Well, it turns out I wasn't paranoid. One night, Kelly left her phone on the counter while she was showering, and it lit up with texts from Andy. Let's just say they weren't talking about meal plans or workout routines. I confronted her immediately, and she broke down and admitted she'd been cheating with him for months. She told me she fell in love with Andy and that it wasn't about me. It was just something she couldn't help. She packed her things and moved in with him within a week. That was the worst time of my life. It felt like my entire world had been ripped apart. I blocked her on everything and focused on picking up the pieces of my life. Therapy, gym, hanging with friends. I slowly started to move on, even though it left a deep scar. Then, out of the blue, a few days ago, she reached out to me on a new number. At first, I wasn't going to reply, but curiosity got the better of me. She started by saying she missed me, that she was sorry for everything, and that she'd made a huge mistake. Things with Andy went downhill fast. She found out he was cheating on her. Oh, the irony. They've broken up, and now she's stuck, lonely, and miserable. She even admitted she'd been thinking about me for months, but was too ashamed to reach out sooner. She said she realized what she had with me was real, and that she wants to make things right. She claimed she was willing to do anything to prove she's changed and asked if we could meet up to talk. Here's the thing. Reddit. Part of me still has some feelings for her, but another part of me is screaming to block her again and never look back. I don't know if I can ever trust her after what she did, but hearing her sound so broken on the phone stirred something up in me. Maybe it's pity, maybe it's nostalgia, or maybe I'm just an idiot. So here I am, trying to figure out if I should hear her out or tell her to stay in the past where she belongs. What would you guys do? Update. Hey everyone, I wasn't planning on doing an update, but after meeting up with my ex, I feel like I need to get this off my chest. So, we met up yesterday for coffee. I went in not sure what to expect. Part of me wanted closure, part of me was still curious about what she had to say. We talked for a good couple of hours, and it was a lot to process. Kelly started by apologizing. She admitted that leaving me for Andy was the biggest mistake of her life, and she's been paying for it ever since. Without getting into too many details, things between them weren't as perfect as she thought they'd be, and the whole relationship crashed and burned. She's been struggling ever since. Mentally, emotionally, financially, it's been a rough year for her. But here's the part that I wasn't prepared for. She also brought up a lot of things about our relationship that I never considered. She said that while cheating on me was 100% wrong, she felt like I wasn't the best boyfriend either. According to her, I didn't always make her feel appreciated, and she resented me for that. She mentioned that I was emotionally distant at times, more focused on my work or hobbies, and she felt like she wasn't a priority. She didn't use it as an excuse, but she said that built-up resentment contributed to her being tempted by someone who made her feel wanted. Hearing that hit hard. I didn't see myself that way, but looking back, I can see where I might have dropped the ball. I thought I was being a good partner, but maybe I was blind to some of her needs. She said she spent a lot of time reflecting and realizes she should have talked to me about her feelings instead of stepping out. After we finished talking, she asked if we could try again. She claims she's learned from her mistakes and wants to rebuild what we had. She told me she's willing to take things slow and prove she's different now, but I'm torn. On one hand, I've done a lot of healing in the past year, and I don't know if I can or should go back. On the other hand, I can't lie. Hearing her admit her mistakes and explain her side of things made me feel something. Maybe it's closure, maybe it's sympathy, maybe it's old feelings creeping back. I honestly don't know. Now I'm just confused. Part of me wants to move on and never look back, but another part of me is questioning whether we both made mistakes that could be fixed now that we've grown. I can't tell if she's just trying to ease her guilt, or if there's a real chance at something better. What would you guys do? Is there any point in trying to rebuild, or is it better to leave the past where it belongs? Okay, this time let's see what the community has to say about the matter at hand. Book Rant says, "My guy, she was manipulating you. LOL. If you weren't a great boyfriend, why is she coming back to you now? Tell her, sorry, I was such a loser boyfriend to you. I didn't know. But the good news is, you're now free to find someone better. Good luck." Like, if you were so bad and she started resenting you, why even want you back? Socks Matter 2 says she's negging him, blatantly as well. OPF that chick. She broke your trust and then tried to blame you for it, and now she wants your stability, but that's a big mess she got herself in. Not to mention risk of STDs with that douch canoe trainer. This is not what you deserve. You are lovable and worthy, do not settle. Never run after men, women, or buses. There'll be another one along in 10 minutes, so to speak. Massive hugs, dear heart. Don't derail your life for someone like this. Cheaters Digest says, I'll take never run after men, women, or buses for a 1000 Alex. Think effectively. I'll take never run after men, women, or buses. There'll be another one along in 10 minutes. I agree with this whole reply, but I'm taking this part for future use. I hope you're reading all of this above and drilling it through your head. Check 1222. BC, she's lonely and approaching 30. Weary Yogurt Closet 589. And she's broke. Term 70. And it was always her who was and still is the problem. Okay, let's check out the second story. Wife is out getting laid right now. Never thought I'd be here, but yet here I am. This weekend, my wife 38F and our daughter 13F went to visit her mom. I couldn't go because I couldn't get the time off work, and we decided it would just be a girls' weekend for them. I'm a firefighter in a large southern city, and I'm on a call and gearing up when our dispatcher calls in to tell me that there is some emergency. I'm not needed on the work call, so I get my cell phone and find a bunch of texts from my kid and a couple from a number I don't have in my phone. In the course of about 11 text messages, I learned that my daughter has gone ice skating and fallen and broken her wrist. She's in the emergency room, but cannot get treatment because no one can find my wife. The number that I don't know belongs to a friend of my wife's who has gone to the emergency room to sit with my kid. She was the chaperone for the girls who had gone skating. So I call this friend, and after a lot of hemming and hawing, she admits that wifey has gone to dinner with some random guy. Well, we always leave our location shared with the family because of my job. And sure enough, I pull up the address and Google it, and it's a fucking hotel. This was 10 p.m. It's now almost 4 hours later, and she hasn't answered my texts, but she did finally call our kid. I have permission and insurance information, and she got a cast and a referral to see an orthopedist when she gets home. The friend took our daughter back to her grandmother's and texted me. She said, I'm sorry you had to find out this way about Score, a guy's name. It's been going on every time she's gone home that I haven't gone. Meanwhile, I've worked countless hours of overtime to pay off our house, take us on a nice vacation, and send our daughter to the most expensive private school in our city. I'm a fool. Update. Spoke with a lawyer, as many of you suggested. During that conversation, I realized that she doesn't have a lot of access to money that is hers. Removed her as an authorized user of my credit cards. Put two-factor authentication on just about anything else that she might try to get her hands on. Pulled my credit report to discover that she opened a joint credit card I didn't know about. Since I'm on the account as well, I was able to log in and print out the charges. A perfect timeline of restaurants and hotels that she has paid for. Turns out she also has accounts on Tinder and Bumble, which showed up when I combed through the last few phone bills. Have a pal who is a deputy sheriff in these parts, who is going to be here tonight when she gets home. I've gotten her a room at a nearby hotel for the week and paid for it up front. She can sleep there for now and figure it out on her own starting tomorrow. The daughter and I spoke, and she knows what is up and is angry at mom. So next steps are to find someone for her to talk to. Thanks to my job, I've got great insurance, so that is one less thing to worry about. Decided I was also going to come clean to her mother once wife and daughter were on the plane back here. Taking a couple of days off to deal with this. Thanks for the advice, everyone. I'll probably yank these posts down tonight or tomorrow, so if you have any other last-minute advice, now is the time. Final update. First off, thanks to everyone who weighed in. It's amazing the number of fellow firefighters and Leos I've heard from who are in similar situations. I took a few days of personal time away from the job to deal with all of this. The STBXW and our daughter returned home late Sunday, and my daughter immediately fled to her room and closed the door. My wife said something along the lines of, I guess you must be pretty mad at me, and I told her the truth, that I was numb. The anger would come later, and it would be best if she was somewhere else for a while. My friend, the deputy sheriff, was there and said he would sit on the deck and be there if I needed him. I told the wife that I was recording this conversation to protect me and my rights as a husband and father, and she said fine. I suspected at this point that she seemed to think that she was going to talk her way out of it. What I didn't tell her was that I'd spent most of the last week talking with friends, my parents, my battalion chief at work, as well as a lawyer and a therapist. I've got a ton of leave and a supportive bunch of coworkers, and if I need to take months off to deal with this, I can. I just said that I was disappointed in her, but mostly I was angry that our daughter got caught in the crossfire of her bad behavior, that she had put our child at risk to get laid. She didn't admit or deny, but then her tone changed, and she almost immediately started in on saying things like, "Remember the time we," trying to get me to remember good times. After about 3 of those mentions, I told her the truth. I couldn't trust my memories because I had no idea what she might have been doing. When that didn't work, she went into the whole, "I was lonely because you were working so much" crap. I reminded her that we made a deal about how to pursue a future where we could retire early. I got so mad at this point that I pointed out to her that if she had behaved, we could have retired when she was 48 or so, but that I wanted her to remember that promise because now she's going to have to work for herself. I'm not usually a vindictive person, but I like the idea of her having to work until she's 70 years old and being angry every time she gets dressed to go to a job that she hates. Side note, one of my work buddies who is also married, he and his family have vacationed with us a couple of times too, made this observation. Every time we've gone somewhere, there has been a day or two where the wife has contrived an excuse to be apart from the family. So I played a hunch and said something like, "This wasn't the first time. This was just the first time you got caught." And she just hung her head and very quietly said yes. So I have that admission on tape. She went to the hotel without objection. She wrote me long emails saying things like, "I'm sorry, and I am not sure why I did what I did." I did not reply. Before she even got home, I'd spoken with her mother and told her about the fact that she was at a hotel with another man while her daughter was in the emergency room, and also about the credit card that she opened. Her mother did not say much, but I told her that if I had any inkling that she was aiding and abetting the wife's bad behavior, I would severely limit her access to her granddaughter. That was probably a mistake on my part, but I was just so fucking angry. The mother-in-law swears that she knew nothing and that she was worried sick that something happened to my wife when no one could reach her. I also told the mother-in-law that I was not going to allow the wife back into the house if I could do so, and that I expected her to understand that I've never yelled or hit or cheated or done anything else other than the things I promised to do when we got engaged. That seemed to resonate with her. My wife's parents split up when she was in high school because her dad was a serial cheater, so maybe that registered with her mom. I sent a text to the friend who took my daughter to the emergency room. I told her I didn't particularly care if she replied. I said I appreciated her being at the ER with my daughter, but I also said that if she had previous knowledge of where my wife was going, then she should know that she had a huge part in destroying my family, and that a true friend would never encourage shitty behavior. I haven't figured out how to get in touch with her husband yet, but I suspect, based on just sort of reading between the lines, that she and my wife were kind of egging each other on. Thursday morning, I got a text from the wife saying that her mother had rented her a furnished apartment pretty close to our house, and that she would like to come and get some personal things on Friday when I went to work. I said that was fine. I should point out that during all of this, she only texted our daughter one time, and even in her communications with me, she never even asked about her. When she told me she got the apartment, she didn't ask if our daughter could come visit. I told her that I wasn't working on Friday, but that I would be out of the house for a couple of hours so she could get some things. I left, but I had a process server waiting across the street, and when she pulled up in the driveway, he handed her divorce papers. They included a notice from my attorney that I intend to file for sole custody and that she would have visitation rights. She called my voicemail, and she was almost incoherent with rage. I've never heard her so angry, or frankly sounding so unbalanced. Also, my lawyer had a very good suggestion that I would pass along to anyone else in this position. I got a new cell phone. I don't carry the phone that has the number the wife knows. I've only given a few people the new number. My lawyer, my sister, my daughter, my boss, a couple of good friends from work. I take a look at the old phone once a day and see if there's anything I need to deal with. I know there's a lot of other advice out there that I did not touch on, but there is no need for a paternity test because my daughter looks exactly like me. I will get an STD panel, but I don't think that's an issue either. My lawyer did get notified that the wife has hired a lawyer, but I made it clear that I'm going to stay in the house and the daughter is going to stay there with me. I may have to write her a large check thanks to the vagaries of family law, but at this point, I don't give a damn. I'd probably add a zero to the check if I could get rid of her 6 months earlier.